Hi, it's David Hatch here. I'm a business consultant and leadership expert working with companies in the UK. The way people interact with their workplace and with their employers is evolving. In recent videos, I've talked about this from a variety of different perspectives. And today I want to talk about the culture within a company, what it means and how it can be an indicator of success. And also importantly, what you can do as a leader to ensure that you have a positive and enduring culture that is built upon more than simple gimmicks. Hi again everyone, thanks for joining me today. Culture is a big part of an organisation's success, and it's inextricably linked to leadership or the behaviour of managers. And this is a big reason why leading by example is so important. Today I want to focus on understanding what we mean by company culture, what purpose it can serve, and how it is linked to the success of your company. And finally, also, what you can do about it as a leader. So what is company culture? The definition of culture, particularly within an organisation or a company, is somewhat open to interpretation, but it is generally defined as the shared behaviours, values and norms that develop within an organisation or an entity such as a company or team. Culture has been argued to impact a wide range of business outcomes, everything from employee retention or turnover to happiness and efficiency, and even commercial or financial success of the business as a whole. Numerous scholars have made an overt connection between leadership and culture, and the two concepts clearly interact in most organisations. As with most intangible things like culture, it can be good, bad, or any number of greyer alternatives in between. And developing and nurturing a good culture should be a key goal for any leader. What purpose does culture serve? The culture in your company can serve a number of very important functions. It helps to set the expectations of the people that work there. For example, what approaches may be taken to what tasks, how people communicate with each other and with customers or other external parties, as well as how people can expect their managers or leaders to treat them. Culture drives the way your company is perceived internally, and this perception can even drive change, especially if there's a disconnect between values or aspirations on the one hand and the reality of the company on the other. There's also a more universal perception of your company and how it operates, behaves, by which I mean that your culture can become more than simply an internal dynamic. It is often detectable by customers or other external parties, such as, crucially, prospective talent that you may want to hire down the road. It can also be exposed to wider industry or the media and the PR arena as well, which of course can have an impact on your company. So there is a definite peril in allowing a bad culture to develop. It can hurt the bottom line and the longevity of the company through both customer perceptions and your ability to attract and retain top talent, or not. Finally, culture is also about the values and the purpose of your company. What it is, what it does, and why. All of those feed into the culture and the way that people work and perceive your organisation. And if all of these factors are working together to generate a positive culture, then this in turn can help unite your team and get everyone in the business working towards a common goal or strategy, being guided by the culture in how to achieve it as well. So in all of these respects, the culture of a company is implicitly linked to its ability to meet business objectives. How is culture linked to success? Well, there's kind of two aspects or two reasons why having a good culture matters. Firstly, because a positive and engaging company culture has been shown to improve productivity, staff welfare and mental health, as well as the reputation of the business. And secondly, if you don't work to maintain a good culture, then you may end up with a negative or a toxic one in your workplace instead. which can obviously make it very difficult to attract good staff and even harder to keep them, as well as having really detrimental effects on the company's strategic, operational and financial performance. According to a Gallup poll of global workplaces conducted last year, as high as 80% of employees are either not engaged or are actively disengaged at work. And this equates to trillions in lost potential productivity, but also places a heavy burden on leaders to act for the sake of their teams and businesses to address this cultural issue. Culture has also been linked to trust in the leadership, job satisfaction, staff and customer loyalty, and mental health. So what can you do about it? Culture can be quite problematic for leaders and managers because it is intangible, it's difficult to measure, and in some respects it's highly subjective or relative. By this very nature, it also doesn't lend itself well to a quick fix, but it will require an extended period of conscious, deliberate effort to enact change. The first step that many leaders fail at is simply recognising what your culture currently looks like and accepting that there will be work involved if you want to change it. Once you understand how the culture in your company currently works, then you can start to think about how you'd like it to work. A good starting point from there can be defining your values or vision or mission or purpose or whatever else you might want to call that central driving force behind what your business is doing and why your team or company exists. Having this well defined and clearly communicated can make a world of difference to your levels of staff engagement. Not to say that there's no room for disagreement or discussion or changes, because a big aspect of culture is employee driven. So this must be a two-way conversation, as with many things in leadership. And it's also good to have a regular review or update to your culture and your vision, mission, values, whatever we're calling it, just to ensure that everyone is on the same page and they remain bought into what you've set out to achieve, which incidentally will also help you develop a more positive culture if people feel included in defining what the direction of the company is. Consistency at all levels is another thing to focus on. It's no good handing down a decree about the purpose of the company if you then don't live up to it yourself. And it's equally useless if you're the only person who does. So again, the key lesson here is involvement and inclusion at all levels of your business. Get everyone involved in the discussion, and by extension, you'll improve buy-in to your vision as a leader, which in turn will make the company's driving ethos more consistently understood and adopted at all levels, and contribute to the culture that you're trying to build. Active participation is really important. As I hinted at just now, as a leader, culture in many ways comes from the top as well as from the bottom. If you want to ensure good culture and aligned values and consistent adoption, then leading by example and walking the talk is crucial too. The physical space of your business can play a part as well. Do your workspaces or offices reflect the culture that you're trying to achieve, or the one that you're saying you already have? For example, if your values and culture claim to be all about accessibility and face-to-face interaction, but then your leader and your senior managers all have private offices and never really meet with staff, then that's not going to work very well. And another good example might be in the current times, if you wanted to have a flexible, remote working based culture, but then you have a physical office and your existing policies require people to work there, or vice versa. So it's important to think about the actions and words and take corrective steps when the two aren't quite matching up. Another suggestion would be to consider the HR or people management aspect as well. Do you currently have an HR function in your company? Is it a secondary duty for a senior leader or even a contractor or consultant to fill the role? I think the key thing here is that someone in or associated with the business is responsible for maintaining the culture and managing the way the company engages with its employees. Getting this right can ensure that the right signals are being sent by leadership to the team and that the culture being developed or maintained is staying well aligned to the company's declared values. For me, the most important thing for a leader to remember about For me, the most important thing for a leader to remember about company culture is that it's going to exist whether you want it to or not. It will develop on its own, and if you try to ignore it or you place a low priority on staff engagement, then you'll likely end up with a negative or even a toxic culture and all of the poor outcomes that can bring to your company. Gimmicks and lip service are not the way forward. If, on the other hand, you embrace culture and you get involved, actively working to make it as positive and inclusive as you can, then you and your business, company or team will likely reap the rewards of that investment, not least of which will be creating a place where people want to work. And that's all I have for today. Hopefully something to think about and reflect upon. Feel free to leave a comment with your own thoughts, and I'd be really interested to hear about your experiences of workplace cultures, what works and what doesn't, and what makes a good or bad culture. If you found this video helpful, then please do hit the like button as well, and you can subscribe to the channel to be notified when I post the next video. And finally, if you're a new manager or you might be interested in learning more about business leadership and management, then I've put a few links in the description below this video where you can learn more about my coaching, mentoring and training programs. Thanks for watching, and be a leader, not a boss.